today we're going to get into Taylor Swift's Folklore album, deluxe version, starting off with The One. We were something, don't you think so? Fun, if you would have been the one. One of her best openers, the truth had to be said. So if you go for her best opener, it's either this or State of Grace off of Red, and that's just that. She definitely ate this. I really like the production on it. It's really like good production. I like her vocals on here a lot. I like the lyrical sentiments and stuff as well, just saying like it would have been fun if you would have been the one, like if one thing would have been different, like would we, be together, would we not be together? I think it's just like a really interesting thing to like write a song about. So I just really enjoy the song overall. One of her best songs on this album for sure. Deserves all the appreciation. And I really love the bridge as well. She just really has a great way about like writing and stuff and just getting you to like see her perspective and the detail that she puts into everything. So I really love this song. One of my favorite songs on this album.
I definitely agree. And I remember the first time I sat down and listened to this album, I'm thinking, oh my God, we're going to get like, lover vibes. Like she's happy with Joe, but it's also lockdown. And then she opens up with this heartbreaker of a song. And I'm just like, oh God, I got a big storm coming. Like we were all sad, we were all freaking depressed, and we all needed a good cry. But I love this song. Definitely a top opener for an album for me.
Exactly that part. Now on to track 2, Cardigan. Felt like I was in a cardigan. You put me on and said I was your favorite. So I remember whenever this song came out, I saw multiple people being like, "Oh, she's just ripping off Lana Del Rey." I'm sorry, if this is her ripping off Lana Del Rey, I need her to run it back again because she ate. She ate. This was so good, and this was a really great choice for the lead single for the album because coming off the back of Me, which gets a lot of hate, and can't be mad at that. It's not that bad of a song in my opinion, but I think this is a really good pick because it really shows off her songwriting prowess, and yeah, lyrically it's definitely one of the best songs on the album. So I really enjoy this one. It's a very intriguing track. I really love the lyrics, especially like the first verse really stand out to me, and I love the bridge as well, especially whenever she says, "But I knew you'd linger like a tattooed kiss. I knew you'd haunt all of my what ifs." Like she ate. And yeah, so there's just a lot to love about it. It's a really interesting track. So another one of my favorites off the album, and I always liked it. I think I used to think it was overrated, but now like it deserves all of its tens. And I'm glad it had like its moment where it was like trending on TikTok and stuff. I thought it was cool. So really good piece. I like the music video too.
I remember when I first listened to it and I heard Baby Kiss It Better, like, hello, Rihanna. Like, come on. And I also really love, okay, I'm about to dive into, the love triangle. I really love that. Obviously, this is from Betty. I love the fact that Betty is, reminiscent in her late 30s because I remember Taylor saying during the studio sessions, this is her looking back 20 years from being 17 and just reminiscing. Obviously in the long run it didn't work out, but it was fun while it lasted, and it was definitely a fun memory. James is a fool. Oh my God.
You get it. Yeah, and this is the first one of the love triangle, and yeah, the long con sessions were really great. And so there's like, I really wish I would have watched it again now that you're talking about it, because I really did enjoy that. And the fact that she had like a whole separate album for it that she put on streaming was great. I wish she would have done that for Evermore, but then she has to acknowledge that the album actually exists. So we just never gonna get that. But yeah, the Evermore space gonna be fun. I just remembered we're doing it. I forgot about that album. I was thinking after this, like, oh, we're about to do the Red Space. I just forgot Evermore in my Taylor era. No, that's sick.
Evermore, and then it's Fearless. Come on now.
I'd be forgetting, but it's okay because I have you to keep you on track, so it's okay.
Yeah, you drew stars around my scars, but now I'm bleeding. Come
Pure
on.
poetry, pure
Taylor.
poetry. I don't understand how Taylor doesn't have a Song of the Year Grammy when she's one of the best songwriters of all time. The fact she still doesn't have it, like she should have won it like at least 3 or 4 times. Like let's be for real. But especially Cardigan, like I hope one day she like finally gets that because it's been deserved at this point. So I appreciate you putting that to the forefront.
Cabin and Candlelight version is not talked about enough.
I was thinking about that earlier. Yeah, that was cute.
I haven't listened to it in a while, but I remember it was freaking beautiful.
It's interesting to hear how like songs start off and stuff, because especially for 1989, like she gave some of the demos and stuff, so you could kind of see like what she was thinking before she actually like finished it off. So it was interesting for what it was, but I appreciate the finished version more. I think the words fit together better. But it's interesting to hear, I will say that. Now we on to track 3, The Last Great American Dynasty. They said, there goes the last great American dynasty. This is my favorite song on the album right here. You know, ever since it came out, this has been one of my favorites. And it's been my favorite song for like a while, because August was my number 1. This was like probably like number 2, and now it's like my number 1 easily. But yeah, this song is just pure brilliance, and I feel like it's very underrated in the discography. It doesn't get talked about enough. Like the fact that she wrote this about Rebecca Harkness, like, you know, she wanted to write a song about her, and she was trying to figure out a way to actually do it. And then, you know, she heard the track and she finally figured everything out. And then the way she flips it and, you know, said, you know, to make it about her in a way, it's so cool. And I
Because
really
she
love the bridge on here
got
too.
bought the house, that's why.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So like literally the fact that she like started off like telling that story and then she flipped it and made it about her. Like geniuses, geniuses.
That connect to her in some way, shape, or form throughout this album. Not just with this one, but yeah, this is definitely the second happiest song on this album.
She just chewed. Like the fact that she wrote this song, the tens are not given enough, I fear. I like the instrumentation, the piano, the percussion, the vocals. Yeah, just 8. And the bridge. One of her best bridges, I fear. Like, just never gets its tens.
Dying the dog key lime green. Like, come on,
Exactly.
Rebecca. And can I share a theory? What if Rebecca is Betty?
I don't know if I ever thought about it like that. I
Like,
probably would need to re-listen to it thinking
like
about that.
I draw so many parallels, and Betty is a common nickname for Rebecca. And you know, if you think about exile, you know, which we can get to next, obviously, but what if Betty moved on from James and got with, you know, the last great American dynasty man? I don't know. I go down such big rabbit holes, it's not even funny, especially when it comes to this album.
And I appreciate that. Hashtag Scorpio things, Scorpio supremacy. You already know. Because I do the same with stuff that I listen to. Because you can think about it in so many ways. But yeah, the song definitely goated.
I think she's been wanting to write this song since 1989 era.
She's been wanting to write it for a really long time. I know that for
He
sure. I like wrote it down. Yeah, it said she bought the Holiday House in 2013. So like Red Era, she's been wanting to write the song. So it took 7 years for her to write it, you know, to figure it out. Pretty cool.
Glad she finally did. She gave me a story and I loved it.
Yeah, it's such a different vibe from like a lot of her other stuff, and I just wish it got paid the attention that it deserves. Because like the 3-track run from the one to Cardigan to Last Great American Dynasty, it's like one of my favorite 3-track runs of hers, and this just never really. I think it gets lost in the shuffle, to be honest, among the other songs on this album, which is unfortunate, but it's just as deserving, you know, as like Cardigan or whatever. So that's what I think. Now we moving on to track 4, Exile featuring Bon Iver. Alright, my thoughts on Exile. Y'all gonna crucify me. Exile is so overrated. Like, I'm sorry. Like, ever since the song came out, I just don't see in it what everybody else sees. You know, every once in a while, I can listen to it and I can appreciate it. I just think that comparatively, it's not as striking to me as a lot of other songs in the song. I'm sorry. To follow the Last Great American Dynasty, you have to come harder than this. I'm sorry. Like, and I don't really care that much for Bon Iver either. Like, the other song, like, Evermore that they did together, don't even get me started on that. But I just never get what everyone else is like going up for with the song. It's not one of the best songs on the album to me, but I know it's very unpopular. So those are my thoughts.
The fact that she even teamed up with Justin Vernon for this song just had all of us shook. Like, nobody understood, you know? This is one of my favorites. I loved it from jump, and I think it was a great way to get into one of her saddest track 5s ever. Like, oh my god. Like, honey, you got a big storm coming. And I also feel like this could have been a parallel to Betty and James too, because, you know, they split. What if he could have been seeing her with, you know, Mr. Oilfield Man?
See, I didn't think about it that way either. So now you're giving me all these theories on this album. So I'm gonna have to look into it deeper. I don't know. A lot of Swifties like to do like lyrical analysis of her songs and stuff. And it's interesting how many of her songs you can like tie to each other, or you can find like different parallels and stuff. So I'll definitely have to keep that in mind. I will say that. But now on to track 5, My Tears Ricochet. I swear I loved you till my dying day. Get out my ricochet. So this is one of her best track fives. I'd probably have this somewhere, like probably like top 3 track fives from her. In my opinion, at least, like the lyrics on this song, like very, you know, devastating and stuff. And as people said, it seems to be about her situation with not owning her master recordings. And we know that she's re-recording her albums and things like that. But yeah, there's so much emotion in it. And I really love the lyrics on it. You know, like there's so much to go into. I really love the bridge on this song as well. Like, ugh, she just really chewed. And I'm glad that it does tend to get a lot of praise, at least from what I've seen. So yeah, definitely one of her best track fives, in my opinion.
I cry every time I hear this bridge. Oh my god. And the fact that this was the first song written for this album and she wrote this by herself. I know Scooter gets his lashings, but we don't talk about Scott enough. And I feel like she talked about the both of them here. We all know she was talking about the both of them.
Yeah, and the fact that she said, like, you know, don't sell my master
Really
recordings to this man, and he did that, really messed up. She said, and if I'm dead to you, why are you at the wake? Like, if I mean
she
nothing to you, then why are you still showing up?
was.
Like she ate.
Period. Definitely up there with tolerated and all too well.
The tolerated praise. Oh, I never
Yeah.
thought I would see this day. I never did. That's her best track five, you let me tell it. Ooh,
Oh
I'm
my
about to have so much praise for them that Evermore Space you don't even understand. Ugh,
I
I
can't
can't
wait
wait.
about it. But talk about my tears.
Yes, yes, both excellence. You see when you write excellence, and like you said, a self-written track. I love that. The pen was penning. Definitely ate that. Now to track 6, Mirrorball. So I really enjoy this one. I feel like it's grown on me a lot since this album has come out, and I've really listened to it. Again, another one I think is very underrated. I really enjoy the production. It's striking to me. It stands out. The vocals and lyrically, it kind of just seems to be about being a people pleaser and, you know, kind of just like mirroring other people's behaviors and just like acting what you think that other people want to see from you. So I think it's really interesting. And I like the juxtaposition of the, you know, production with the lyrics and stuff. So I think it's cool.
She actually wrote this song right after she found out Loverfest was indefinitely canceled. Like she was still in the very beginning, she was still very hopeful that somewhere down the line Loverfest would happen, but when she found out that it definitely was not happening, her heart was broken. So hence Mirrorball. And I just love that every time I see a disco ball, it's not a disco ball anymore. It's a fucking mirror. Like
It reminds me of that outfit she wore to the AMAs, I think in 2018. Oh, she ate that. I like that fit. So I will say that. And I think she said something about like whenever people see famous people like suffering or something, like they find entertainment in it. So there's that as well. So I mean, there's a lot to go into, but I really like the bridge. She says, I'm still a believer, but I don't know why. I've never been a natural. All I do is try, try, try. I'm still in that trapeze. I'm still trying everything to keep you looking at me. Oh, so
exactly.
good.
Because all she knows is, you know, she lives off of these tours and she truly loves her fans so much. And the fact that she couldn't do Lover for them broke her heart. You could tell.
At least
Like,
we got
this
this song out of it.
song is hated
We
on
won.
way too much. This is definitely, you know, a good gem for me.
Exactly. This
Oh,
is probably one of my favorites off this album, to be honest.
not my favorite, but I still love her. Like, it's hard to rank this. It really
Yeah, this one can be hard to rank for sure. I think I know at this point like what my favorites are. Like absolutely like my top five, and then like you know I like tier everything out. I think it's kind of easier that way. Once I listen to something a lot, I can usually figure it out pretty much. But yeah, this song definitely deserves a little bit more appreciation. I never understood the slander for this song. I'm like, out of every song that you could hate on this album, this should definitely not be the one. But you know, I digress.
and the next one too. The next one does not get enough appreciation either.
Oh yeah, this next one is actually one of my friend's favorite songs. Now on to track 7, 7. I won't tell no other chemical you face. I still got love for you. Yeah, so I like this one. Like you were saying, it doesn't get enough appreciation. And I love the production. I really like the approach that she took with her vocals, especially like in the beginning. Very delicate vocals, no pun intended. So I really enjoyed that. And the lyrics are really interesting as well. So yeah, it's a really good way to follow up Mirrorball. I think there's like a lot if you look into that, like emotionally and like with the lyrics and everything that you know, she's saying and stuff. I think that's kind of a lot to process. And this one can be too. I think it's just in a different way way. So I think it's like a good kind of palate cleanser after Mirrorball. So I really do enjoy the song.
And now I'll never be able to see this live, and I'm just so upset. But I remember back in Free Britney days, I remember there's this one part where she says, and I've been meaning to tell you, if the house is haunted, your dad is always mad. I automatically started thinking about Britney. Like, she was trapped. And I actually, in my own stupid, goofy time during quarantine, I made my own version of the song where I was like, singing from a perspective that Britney could have been my neighbor. And I just wanted to take her and whisk her away from all these bad and evil shit surrounding her. Like, oh my God. But I love the canvas that she has for this song on Spotify. It's her as a kid on the top of her tree at 7 years old in Pennsylvania.
That's a really interesting perspective, especially you like bringing Britney into it. Like I said, I've been really on a Britney kick as of late, and just like listening to it and thinking about her career. She really deserves so much better, and it just makes me sad the fact that she kept getting surrounded by bad people and just everything that she went through. It's very heartbreaking because she was such a sweet soul and she just really deserves the world. So I really hope the best for her, and I just appreciate her contributions to music and just everything that she's given, because she's really done so much. And a lot of times I feel like she doesn't get the respect that she deserves. A lot of people are very quick to like make fun of her and stuff, but they don't really understand like the weight of what she's been through with the conservatorship and just everything throughout her entire career. So I commend her, the fact that she's like still going and everything. I just appreciate her. So I will definitely say that.
I also love how with this album, Taylor literally wrote songs that, you could tie to, and you can, oh, what's the word? Take it however you want it, I guess you could say.
Multiple interpretations.
Related to
Yeah.
an event going on in your life. And this is one of those songs for me.
And we love to see it. And that's what's really great about songs is like you can, relate it to so many different things. Even if they wrote it about one thing that was like so personal, you might take it in a different way. And I think that's like really cool. That's why I really value like songwriters and storytelling. And Taylor's really at the top of her game, on this album. So I definitely will say that. Now on to track 8, August.
August slipped away into a moment in time.
So this is another one of my favorite songs on the album. Whenever I was re-listening to it again today for this space, I'm like, why is it not as fast as I remember it? Like, I don't know why I remember the tempo being faster, but I'm like, it kind of took me aback. But not in a bad way necessarily. It was just something that was interesting to think of. But yeah, one of the best songs on the album. I'm glad that it's so popular. She really missed an opportunity by not releasing this as a single. I don't know why. Like, this is like the perfect up-tempo to have as a single. And, the summertime, it would have been great for that. So I think she should have had it as a single, but super catchy. I love the bridge on here. It's part of the love triangle, which I'm sure Crystal is like really going to get into. So excited to hear about that. But yeah, really enjoyable track.
I feel so horrible for Augustine. This is what Taylor named her, by the way. She always referred to her as August or Augustine. I feel so horrible for Augustine because it's like she truly cared for James and she truly thought that it would be something, and it wasn't. Augustine was just a rebound, and I truly feel, even though she was the other woman, I feel for her, It's sad, but it's August and she has been on repeat since the first. Like, come on.
Real.
And Jack had so much fun on this song. Like, every time I watch the Long Pond sessions, Jack is so into it. He is so proud of this song, and I love him for that.
As he should be. People like really hate on him as a producer, and I feel like they try to like stereotype what his sound is and stuff, but I feel like they don't check the writing credits and stuff and the producer credits enough on songs. Because, if you listen to some stuff that he's like done for her and in general, you wouldn't like necessarily pin them to him. They just pin him to like the pop stuff that he does. But, I really enjoy him as a producer, and definitely 8. Like a lot of my favorite songs by her, he tends to have produced them. So gotta give tens where tens are due.
Augustine definitely deserves so much better. She really does. She really deserves so much better.
And now on to track 9, This Is Me Trying.
I just wanted you to know this is me trying.
So this song is kind of one that I would tie with like Nothing New or also Castles Crumbling and stuff, kind of just saying like I used to like have it all and then everything basically went to hell and like I'm really suffering with that kind of. And I think it's interesting how it's kind of just like the same thing written in like three different ways, but they're all very captivating to listen to at the same time. So I really enjoy this one. And I think she said something about this song being about addiction or something. And my favorite lyric is whenever she says, they told me all of my cages were mental, so I got wasted like all my potential. And then also whenever she says, I was so ahead of the curve became a sphere, fell behind all my classmates, and I ended up here pouring out my heart to a stranger, but I didn't pour the whiskey. I, word vomited in a sense, and I shared a lot about what I was going through, but at least I like didn't drink or whatever, and kind of celebrating that aspect about it. I really like the backing track for it. I love the bridge. I love her vocals. So yeah, I really enjoy it. I think it's a great piece on the album, and yeah, she just ate that.
This Is Me Trying is definitely one of my favorites on this album. This is definitely going to be on my Spotify top played songs this year because literally there's like a part for different people. Like there's a one part, like you said earlier, fell behind on my classmates. I feel like that part could have been James. And then there's another part that could be coming from a point of view of someone who is dealing with addiction, but they're saying, hey, I'm trying, I'm trying. And it could just be, from anybody who's having any kind of, addiction problem or mental struggle, I'm trying.
Exactly, and that's what they don't talk about, like hearing from people who like really deal with that. Like it's just hard to just like get up and show up every day and kind of just like documenting that. And I think she did it in a really great way. So I enjoy this track a lot. Now on to track number 10, Illicit Affairs. That's the thing about illicit affairs. It's born from just one single glance, million little times. I like this one, another song that she wrote about infidelity, and I really like the way that she writes about it because it makes you see it from a different perspective and like, wow, this is more layered and complicated than I would originally think, because a lot of people, whenever they think about infidelity, they think like, oh, it's just black and white. She really shows the shades of gray in that. I think that that's really cool about it. I really like the lyrics. My favorite lyrics were the ones that we just heard in the preview. I love the bridge in this song. I appreciate the vocals and really the raw emotion on the song. I've seen her like performing it live, and just the headspace that she gets into is really interesting. So it's a good piece on the album.
This is definitely one of my tops on this album. I didn't love it when I first listened to the album, but this was my biggest grower. Like, I adore this song so much now. Like, don't call me kid, don't call me baby. That bridge, oh my God, this bridge gets me every single time. I feel like this also could have been about, James leaving Augustine's house. And every time he leaves her, she gets sad. And I feel like it could be about that because also in Betty, James talks about Betty dancing with another man. So hello, illicit affairs. That's an interesting parallel. But yeah,
Yeah, I'm living for your parallels and how you're tying all these songs together. It's really cool. All right, now on to track number 11, Invisible String. All along there was some invisible string tying you to me. So this is another one of the best songs on the album. Really incredible, the fact that she wrote the song about fate, and I just think it's so cool just like thinking about it. Even friends or like whoever it is in your life, like how many times have we like been in the same place or just like similar circumstances and we didn't know each other until this point, and just thinking about all the coincidences and like the invisible string that ultimately tied us together. I think that that's so cool, and just the way that she wrote this song and the vocal delivery, it just is so fascinating to listen to. I love the instrumentation on this as well, and the bridge on this song, oh, she ate that. And yeah, there's just so much about this song to really love. I love whenever she says, time, mystical time, cutting me open, then healing me fine. Like, one of the best songs in the album. Might be one of the best songs of her career, to be honest.
hell was the journey, but it brought me heaven. It's definitely the happiest song on the album, but now looking back, it hits different because we all know this song's about Joe. But it's definitely, not appreciated enough, I feel like. And the fact that she's still writing about Joe Jonas this far into her career. Like she really sent him and his wife, a present for their baby. We love the growth.
I saw this somewhere. I don't know if Taylor said it or someone said it about her, but the fact that she like never gets over anything, like she's low key so real for that because I'm the exact same way. Like the parallels, that you were bringing up and stuff. I don't know.
And
It's still interesting, and
she
even
also
though it can be sad looking back because it ended, it's still a beautiful song. I think.
and she also sent Katy Perry whenever she had Daisy. She's sending everybody baby presents. All these invisible strings. You literally see an invisible string if you watch the Cardigan video going to Willow. Like, hello, invisible string, one single thread of gold. Come on.
Wow, I don't think I ever picked up on that. You're really making me insightful in a different way. So I appreciate that. I do. I will say. And now we will go on to track number 12, Mad Woman. So I appreciate the sentiments of the song, kind of just talking about the double standards of society and stuff, because a lot of times people act like we're overreacting to things and like we're blowing our emotions out of proportion and stuff, and it's just something that is like incredibly frustrating because it's not a bad thing to have emotions and to feel things, and like what made you get to that point. So I enjoy that about it. I like the vocals, I like the lyrics, especially the one about the scorpion, because hashtag Scorpio teens. So we really do love to see it. And it depends on what mood I'm in if I listen to the song. Sometimes I just like don't want to hear it and I skip it. It's not a bad song. I think just in comparison to a lot of other songs in this album, I would rather listen to something else sometimes. But I like it. It's good for what it is, I will say. I hate the long pawn studio version of the song so much now that we're talking about that. Because like if you listen to the studio and then you listen to it back to back, I think Jack plays the piano like maybe slightly off, like it's like a different rhythm or something like that. And I don't think it like lines up with her vocals or it just lines up differently. It bothers me so bad every single time I listen to it.
Well, it's an Aaron song. It's not a Jack song, it's an Aaron song.
Well, wasn't Jack playing the piano whenever she did it though?
They were all playing, but this is Aaron written all over. I'm not sure. It's been a little while, but
I'm gonna
yeah.
have to run it back. And then I will DM you.
We all know who the song's about. It's the
Yeah.
way that she predicted this man's divorce.
Period.
Like Karma.
Period. And Karma's one of the best songs on Midnight. Like she ate that.
Like
Love to see it.
Can't wait to talk about Midnights.
Yeah, that'll be really fun.
But yeah, it's not my favorite on the album, but I appreciate it for what it is. It definitely, talks about the double standards that we as women face when it comes to men. A man does one thing and he's not ridiculed or criticized about it. But if a woman comes off a bit upset, she's just so angry. And it's like, no.
Exactly. The double standard. And I mean, she does have the song The Man on the Lover album. So she kind of, has dipped her toe into talking about the double standards in society before. But yeah, it's a good track.
That was a good connection.
We love to see it. All right, now on to track 13, Epiphany. All right, so I'm pretty sure she said she wrote this about her grandfather, something like that.
She had started doing her history on her grandfather because he had served in World War II, and she also wanted to tie together the current events with, everybody in the hospitals. She wanted to pretty much tie together how these are unspeakable events. Like, you're so shook from all this stuff happening. Like, it's literally something you just can't speak about, First verse, she pretty much sums up what she thinks could have happened during that war. And then the second part of the song, she really lays into all the nurses. Med school did not teach you any of this shit. Like, you're seeing hundreds and hundreds of people dying every single day, and it's literally like just as traumatic as that war. She was doing a lot of digging and researching about her grandfather, definitely. And I love how it's track 13. Track 13 on Folklore is about her grandfather, right? Track 13 on Evermore is obviously about her grandmother.
Do you prefer this one or Marjorie more? Because I think Marjorie is, better.
Superior, yes, I agree.
Especially the bridge.
I just love the parallels, how the 2-track 13s, the 2 sister albums, are about her grandparents, pretty much.
Yeah, for me, I don't really listen to the song very often. Like, with your whole analysis and everything, I appreciate what she's going for with the song, but to be honest, I get kind of bored listening to it. I think it's just, with the entire album, kind of just throws me off.
She had to get it off her chest, everything that was going on in the world.
And I'm glad that she did. And I'm glad that there's a skip button. Thank God. But, no disrespect.
My God.
Yes.
On this album.
Yes, there's multiple skips on this album, if you let me tell it. It depends on the day for some of them, but some songs on the skip every time. Like Exile, pretty much, I skip like almost every time. I'm gonna skip this song pretty much every time. Yeah. I didn't even re-listen to Exile today. I thought about it and then I was like, I'm not gonna do it. But I did re-listen to Epiphany. And yeah, so Exile, it's objectively, I think it's good. Do I listen to it? No. But we all have songs that we like and songs that the skip button is there for, the hidden feature is there for. But I digress. Now we move on to track 14, Betty. But if I just showed up at your party, would you have me? Would you tell me to fuck myself or lead me to the garden? So I like this song. It was in my favorites. And then it kind of had to fall because other songs rose. But I do enjoy it. I really like the harmonica. I like the instrumentation. Kind of harkening back to her country days, which she hadn't, revisited for a long time at that point because she switched over to pop. So it was a nice taste of that, I will say. I like the writing. I love the bridge and the tie-in and stuff, talking about walking on broken cobblestones, I believe, in this song, and then she's talking about that in Cardigan. So you have that, and then we know that it's connected to August. So the love triangle is really cool, and I liked hearing her talk about it in the long pond sessions, and so I really enjoy it. I like the vocals too. I like when she did it live, and so yeah, really enjoyable song. I like the progression of it. I like the key change. It's a good song on the album and a good way to follow up Epiphany.
Can we give Joe his 10s?
Sure.
Like,
Pisces King.
It's the way he, started playing it.
Joe on One Supremacy.
He started playing the piano. He started singing this whole first part. And Taylor just walks in like, hello, I do this for a living. That's literally what she said on the Long Pond sessions. And, they wrote this together. It was one of my favorites. When I first heard it, I was like, yeehaw? Like, hello, Fearless. It was definitely given Fearless for me. And I used to love Fearless back.
The way the song outsold most of Fearless.
But it's not my favorite anymore, but I think Joe deserves his 10s. He did great writing this whole first verse by himself. And he sung it in that manly voice too and everything. It was like, hello. I love that she went back to the AMAs and performed this one for them. Because this is definitely the most country she's been in like a decade. Literally a decade, because Speak Now came out in 2010. Come on.
Well, I mean, Red was country pop, so there was definitely still some country elements on Red.
Yeah, true, but you had big pop elements in Red.
All right, now we're gonna go on to track number 15, Peace. It's just around the corner, darling. I can never give you peace. So this is a really interesting one because she basically just said, as famous as she is, there's certain concessions that she's gonna have to make, and everything that she goes through, and just saying like, is whatever I can give you with the level of fame I have enough? That's what this song is asking. So it's a really interesting premise for the song. I will say I love the lyrics on here as well, and the bridge really stands out. She said, and you know that I'd swing with you for the fences, sit with you in the trenches, give you my wild, give you a child, give you the silence that only comes when two people understand each other, family that I chose, now that I see your brother as my brother. Like, ooh, wow. There's just so much in the song, and it's a really soothing song. It's a good placement in the album, I think, so I quite enjoy it. I think it's grown on me a lot, so I don't skip this one now. I think I give it a little bit more appreciation, so it's a good track.
Like, literally, where the peace stands at, because I adore this song now. And it's the fact that she composed this song, wrote sad as fuck lyrics over the most peaceful instrumentation you could possibly think of.
Exactly. I love a good juxtaposition, so that definitely stands out for sure.
Makes me think about Lucky. How it's sad as fuck lyrics, but over a happy, instrumental.
It's giving Paramore's After Laughter album, the entire thing.
I haven't listened to that album.
Oh, you should. I need to do a video on that. I've been meaning to do one, but I've been thinking about digging it back up because it's such a good album. Yes. Might be their best album. And now on to track 16, Hoax. Hey, Hoax, I believe in. Don't want no other shade of blue but you. This song is so depressing to listen to. Honestly, I really enjoy the piano line. It really takes you in. I like her vocals on the song, good vocal performance there. I like the lyrics. And one that stood out to me is whenever she says, "You knew it still hurts underneath my scars from when they pulled me apart." So you could kind of tie that to Cardigan in a way. So that was a really interesting parallel to me, at least. So yeah, it's a good track. I don't listen to it every single time I listen to the album because sometimes I'm just not in the mood for it. But I like it. It's a good piece.
I really appreciate this song for what it is. It's definitely, for the standard edition. Why did she have to close this album on such a sad fucking note?
She had a reason for it. I don't know. I think she was talking about it when the album came out and before she put the links on streaming. She had some reason for it. I need to look it up, but yeah.
She had to have some kind of reasoning. You never know what goes through that fucking woman's mind. Oh my god. But it's a good song, but it is so fucking sad. Oh my.
Literally, like just the lyrics, "Don't want no other shade of blue but you." Like, wow. So it's just, it can be a lot. I enjoy it, but like I said, I'm not gonna go to it every single time. And now we're moving on to the 17th and final track, The Lakes. Those Windermere peaks look like a perfect place to cry without my muse. So this is another one of my favorite songs in the album. I definitely think that it is one of her best closing tracks all time. And yeah, this should have been on the standard version of the album because I think it's just some of her best work in terms of the songwriting on here. And I really think it perfectly ties together the album as well. And I love whenever she says, "I want auroras and sad prose. I want to watch Wisteria grow right over my bare feet because I haven't moved in years." And also whenever she says, "While I bathe in cliffside pools with my calamitous love and insurmountable grief." Like the pen, oh, on fire. Definitely devoured, definitely ate. And so yeah, I really do love this song. I think it's some of her finest work to date. I love the production here. I love her vocals. And yeah, I don't know why she said something about no one around to tweet it, because that does kind of date it a bit. It doesn't bother me that much, to be honest, but yeah, one of the best songs on the album, I fear.
This song definitely ties into Invisible String because there's a lyric on Invisible String where she talks about 3-year anniversary trip down to the lakes. And the lakes is actually a spot in England where, is actually a real place where poets went off and literally spent the rest of their days, in solitude, literally until the day they died. Like they just wanted to go there and be by themselves. And it's a really sad place. It's a beautiful place, but that's where a lot of these men spent the remainder of their days. And it's a beautiful place, but she doesn't want to end her days there.
Yeah, now that you bring that up, I forgot that she said that and everything. So yeah, that's just interesting. Like thinking like I could end everything right here, go away, be happy or whatever, but she just enjoys what she does too much. So it's interesting piece.
I've been listening to this song so much lately and I just love it. And the very opening lyrics, I'm like, hello, what are these words again? Like, is it romantic how all my elegies eulogize me? Like, ma'am, what?
Pen was on fire, I fear.
Her
The rent
pen.
was due. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the lakes. I love the lakes. I wish it would have been on a standard. At least we got it as a bonus track. It's one of my favorite bonus tracks out of the sister albums.
Exactly. No, because when we have the Evermore bonus tracks, I got a lot of words for those. But yeah, this is like probably like top 2 or top 3 bonus tracks.
Of me, oh my god, please no.
There's so much that the Evermore space is actually going to be really good because now I'm getting excited for that one, I will say. And yeah, definitely devoured. And now let's tap into our overall thoughts on this album. So for me, this is my favorite album by her. I think that it's her best in terms of just like pure songwriting on here. There's just a lot of like really memorable moments. It's pretty consistent for me. I don't really have a whole lot of skips on this album, so that's a positive for me. And yeah, she was just really at the top of her game and everything. She started off country and then she did pop, and then for her to go, more alternative, it was something that wasn't expected. And I think at this point, a lot of critics and even like people counted her out and stuff and thought like, oh, she can't, write amazingly like she used to at Red and whatever because she went pop and stuff like that. So I really feel like she proved them wrong. And I feel like this was released at like a really crucial point in her career. And this album really turned everything around for her because the people who doubted her songwriting and stuff, they came back around on her and were like, oh, I doubted her, and gave her more of a chance. And she expanded her fan base a lot through this album and subsequent releases and stuff. And I know for myself, this is what brought me back to her music because I liked some of her country stuff before I was a fan of her, but I wasn't really big into country music when I was young. I was like more into pop stuff. And then when she did 1989, that's when my attention was on. And then I fell off after that. And then this was what brought me back. I was like, let me listen to it. And it was my favorite album of 2020. So I really have been enjoying it. And yeah, I feel like it really strengthens her catalog. It puts her in a different echelon before. I feel like with this album, you could start talking about Taylor being a legend and stuff like that. I feel like she was far enough into her career and it really shows off her strengths quite well. And the timing for it was really good because it was right in the pandemic. So she just had everybody's attention and stuff. And for it to kind of be a surprise release was a really smart move because people didn't have time to like overthink it and stuff like that. And I feel like this strategy has been working pretty well for her. And yeah, just amazing album. One of my favorite albums of all time. My favorite album by her. I love A Long Pond Session. And yeah, I feel like all the praise this album get for the most part is pretty well deserved. I love the album cover, the sound, and yeah, so shout out to Aaron, shout out to Jack, shout out to everyone who worked on this album because they ate.
Whoa, goddamn, Anastasia just take almost every single word out of my mouth. But here's an extra thought because I agree with pretty much everything that you have said. This album definitely stood the test of time. It's still about 3 years later. I actually agreed with the Grammys with this being album of the year.
Yeah, exactly.
Was my album of the year. But yeah, this is definitely my favorite Taylor album. You took all of the words out of my mouth, Anastasia.
Great minds think alike.
I don't know how to feel about Folklore. I think it's a little overrated, but it's still good.
What's your favorite Taylor album?
Speak Now.
Oh, that one's really underrated, to be honest. I like that one. I do.
And your favorite song on here?
Let me go look at the track list real quick. Hold on. 7.
Real.
Taste. My son has taste. I'm so proud of you.
I think it's a really important album in her discography. Like, it shows how versatile she is with her work.
Definitely. I feel like she doesn't get the credit for her versatility enough and all the different genres and stuff that she can do and stuff. Because a lot of times when people try to experiment, I feel like they fall flat on their face and it's just like, what are you doing? But the fact she's been effortlessly able to transition into all the genres and stuff.
Exactly.
I appreciate that.
I hate when people call her a boring, mediocre pop girl.
I mean, I think it's just other people's opinions. Like, I just like, oh, that's just their opinion. I just like keep it moving because the way they feel about her is the way I feel about other people. Yeah. So I'm just, not everything's gonna like hit for other people. That's how I see it. But yes, I think that's gonna be it for today's space. Thank you, Crystal, for co-hosting with me. Thank you so much to everyone who showed up today and who listened and who contributed. I appreciate you guys so much more than you will ever know. Catch you guys next time. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.